Yeah, so I wanted to come by this fifth crash site, fatal crash site in Western Queens, where I represent the family of the victim. In this case, it's the husband of Tamara Cow. Tamara was killed on a city bike right here in the spot. You see, again, the ghost bike has been installed to remind people that our streets should be places for sidewalk cafes, and residences, as you see around here, and everything that goes into our New York life. But what we also have superimposed on this neighborhood is the convergence of two truck routes and the last opportunity for large trucks to use local roads to access the Triborough Bridge, which lies 1 or 2 blocks just in that direction. So it's actually a very dangerous intersection that had nothing here to protect cyclists, even though you've got an enormous city bike station right there on the next block. You've got sidewalk cafes, schools, restaurants, and people who live here. There are a bunch of lessons learned in this case. For me, I always try to learn what I can from every case and see what we can do to make things better. This is a case that happened within just about a year and a half, and so we had the benefit of laws that I helped draft and win passage of with the families of other fatal crash victims that require the DOT to conduct its own investigation whenever there was a fatal crash. Up until about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was only the NYPD investigating crashes, and the NYPD always knew that the easiest, simplest answer was to blame the victim. And that's what they do in case after case after case. So in this case, they said it was Tamara's fault because she didn't yield to the turning truck. Well, the fact is, even though the truck was signaling, the truck was not supposed to turn across her path until she was allowed to proceed straight across the intersection. The truck driver insisted that Tamara had struck the back of his large truck because he never saw anything and he was keeping a good lookout. But then when we got to take testimony from the driver, we got some more details to the story. We found out, well, first of all, we obtained the video that showed the driver striking Tamara from behind with the front end of his truck, and he should have been, fully able to see her, but he didn't. And then we heard that the truck driver was on the phone to his wife for several minutes before he killed her. And this rule about, you're not allowed to talk on the phone unless it's a hands-free phone. Well, this truck driver swore up and down that there was no way he could have struck Tamara from behind because he didn't see anything. The video proves otherwise. The video proves he was not looking, because had he been looking, he would have seen her. The video proves that allowing professional drivers to speak on a cell phone, or any drivers, is distracting, and it should not be permitted when they're operating multi-ton vehicles on these densely populated neighborhood streets. Now, the one thing that we did get as a result of the DOT investigation, you see it right here, when the light turns red, this is the moment when Tamara started, but there was no leading pedestrian interval at that time, a white walk signal that would have given her a head start over the motorists. They put that in within 2 days afterwards. That's good, but it is pretty sad that our Safe Streets movement has to be built on corpses like this. That the people responsible for keeping our streets safe, it takes a death for them to really sit up and take notice and passage of laws that require them to look at fatal crash sites in order to make them safer. So we have a system now in place where at least when someone dies, it won't be forgotten. We'll remember Tamara by the ghost bike that was installed here by our cycling movement, the Street Memorial Project. We'll remember her by the leading pedestrian interval that DOT put in to make this intersection just a little bit safer for pedestrians and cyclists. And hopefully the next truck driver will be a little bit more careful, won't be on his phone, and won't run over your wife, child, parent, or someone you love.